Welcome to this C4A Academy episode where we will discuss the path to complex semi-open questions and how to check with the typer, and how to use the X to correct.
Good.
Okay, so what do I do next? We're doing great. Okay, my student has just spelled who invented the telephone? Answer me in a sentence, and that student just said Bell invented the original prototype, but Thomas Edison improved it. Okay, well that is really just about open communication because I didn't know any of those words that they were going to say. It's not like, who invented the telephone? Give me his full name. There's only one answer, Alexander Graham Bell. Now we're starting to move into this territory where I'm learning to trust my non-speaker because their motor skills are that adept. So we've moved from the three boards known, and that's pushing up on the motor skill, right? Because we're working on the three boards getting to letters. Okay, then we decide we're going to inch up maybe a little bit on those three boards to doing those simple semi-opens where more than one answer is on the same board. Okay, apple, banana, mango. Give me a fruit that I just named. Only two of them start on this board. I'm sorry, I'm limiting you, but show me one of those fruits. Banana, great. Okay, now we're going to decide we're going to inch up on the motor skill again, and we're going to start introducing the 26-letter board. We're going to spend our time letter by letter. They're doing great on this. They're really starting to get these letters. They're starting to get consecutive letters. Maybe now I inch up again a little bit on the cognitive side of the question, and I start asking those simple semi-opens, but on the 26-letter board. Okay, now they're adeptly getting straight to banana. Fabulous. Now I'm going to start inching up again on the cognitive level. The questions are the same, but I'm going to say answer it in a question. I'm sorry, answer it in a sentence for me.
You are helping us type more complex answers to your questions. We go from single words to phrases to sentences. That is what we mean by increasing the cognitive level of demand.
Then I'm going to start expanding those utterances, right? She had coffee, eggs, and toast. Whatever. We're starting to increase the utterances, pushing for more and more language. When they're doing that adeptly, we're ready for a complex semi-open.
Okay. I think we honestly should color them a different color, but they're still orange.
They are.
So you have to just be paying. It's a little bit that you have to discern that this is a complex because it has a much more complex answer to it.
As you ask us for more complex answers, we need ways to express if you have our correct communication. These next two sections will help you in the land of complex semi-open questions. Check with the typer.
Well, let me just talk about, in this lesson, which you can all have in front of you. What was the major flaw in the original telephone prototype? Now, I have written suggestions for you. The phones had to be close to each other, or the signals weakened rapidly with distance between the phones. It's a semi-opened because the information was provided to you in the paragraph. That said, those are just suggestions. I don't know how my non-speaker is going to choose to answer this. So it's not open communication because it's scaffolded. There is information given to them.
Right.
I'm not just throwing them out there and saying, what do you think of the world situation right now?
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's scaffolded, it's supported because the information was provided. So it is limiting to some extent what they're going to talk about. But how they're going to talk about that thing is more and more left to the non-speaker. So let's see how Elizabeth decides to answer that. Okay, so what was the major flaw in the original telephone prototype? I have no idea how she's going to answer this. T H E P H O N E. The phones. H A D. T. O. B. E. C. The phones had to be C. L. O. S. Look. E. Phones had to be close. T. O. The phones had to be close. T. O. E. M. A. and C. H. O. T. H. E. R. The phones had to be close to each other.
Period.
Period.
She's
searching
doing
for
the
a period. Sorry, everybody, there's no period on this board. Which is one of the reasons that, so again, there was, so many ways to answer that question. The phones had to be close to each other, or the phones had to be near each other, or they had to be close to each other, or, as I said, the signal weakened when they were far from each other. No way to really know. You just follow along. 2 points to be made here. Okay, number one is, you notice that oftentimes I don't say the word, I say the letters. The phones had to, I'll give you a simple example. Okay, and this is something that I see parents do frequently, which is really very problematic. They're trying to do the sentence building thing. The student says, I, T, S. The mother says, it's. How do you know that the student wasn't writing it so, it swiftly? You don't actually know what the word is. On the boards, unfortunately, there is no space bar to show you, as there is in a keyboard, that that's the end of the word. Why? I suspect because it's just another motor movement, and in the beginning, till you get to the keyboard, you're trying to limit motor movements because it's really difficult, okay? So be really careful, okay? It also has, I've seen I, S, O, again, I, S, O. The mother says, I, so, and now the kid is stuck with I, so, when they really were writing is, and then something that starts with an O. So I can give a million examples of this, but I actually have seen parents doing this. The kid spells I-T-S, and the mother goes, it's. Now the child is stuck with it's, and it's not what they wanted to say. They wanted to write it swiftly, and now getting to the, on some of these boards, there is no way to show that I've made a mistake.
This issue of placing spaces between words is very frustrating for us. Please check to make sure you have it as your typer wants it, and know that you will get beyond this issue with a keyboard. The X to correct.
On the sensory board, which we can talk about soon, okay, again, which some people like to use as a transition board, there's no way to say I made a mistake. What I do on this, therefore, is I wrote in an X, and I wrote in a period. I used a permanent marker, a Sharpie. Okay, the reason is because you will see when a parent does that, things will just fall apart.
Oh, the frustration level.
The frustration level. I can finally get my hand and eyes to listen. I want to say I swiftly ran. My mother keeps going, it's, and the next letter is, and now what do I do? And suddenly the kid either stops spelling, can't spell, gets really agitated. Could you imagine every time you tried to speak, I interrupt you and start making you say? In a recent training of a parent, the young man hit an R. Now this is a very adept open speller. The mother is working towards becoming his communication partner. The young man hits the R and his hand starts doing this. And the mother's going, R, R, and the next letter is R, R, and, R, and. And I stopped her and I said, let's just check that he wanted the R. Maybe the reason he has stopped spelling for you is he doesn't want the R and you're just ramming that R down his throat. Okay, lift the board, say, I do it all the time. Did you want that R? The kid suddenly hits the S. It was just a typo. I'll say, X it out. That's how I teach them. Get up to that X. Because again, this is a volitional motor skill, getting to the X. And it's hard to initiate it at first. That's how I teach it. Okay, what you really wanted was the X. So, X out the R, great. Now show me what you really wanted to say. S-T-O, now I can't get anything. I'm getting X, Z, X, Y, Z, X. Okay, stop. Okay, something went wrong. I'm not sure what you really wanted. Okay, so if it's just the first word, I'll say, show me again. Even if they hit that ST again, better that I took the time to check than that they really didn't even want the S. What they wanted was the T.
Yes.
Okay, so I am constantly, even with my most adept spellers on these boards, it is a process to work towards them being able to self-correct, for me looking for the same behaviors, same speaking behaviors that you and I use.
Right.
We pause to think sometimes. It doesn't mean they're done. Okay, if you ask them, this is an open communicator. You're talking to them about the world situation. They start a sentence, they stop. It doesn't mean that they don't want it. Maybe they want to rephrase it. Maybe they, I do that. I just did it, in point of fact.
Right.
I started saying something and I changed the way I wanted to phrase it. I pause sometimes. I'm halfway through a sentence and I want to think, how do I want to express this? Okay, so you'll start to notice as you move towards open communication that they will emulate the same behaviors that we as speakers use.
Right.
They pause. They change what they want to say. I have students who spell, just like you would say to me, what do you want for dinner tonight? I go, They will spell H-M-M-M-M. Okay.
Wow.
I have spellers that we've developed a system when they want to pop a P, when they want to write yup, they will write Y-U-P-P-P-P-P. And I know as their communication partner to go, yup. Because they talk the same way we do. There's inflections.
Yes.
Okay, and I try to come up with ways of giving them the opportunity to have inflections.
Yes.
Okay, if they want to say, no way, N-O-O-O-O-O-O-O, and I, as their CP, I'm not correcting them.
Right.
Okay, they want to emphasize that no way.
Yeah. I do think that this question about where one word stops and the next word begins is just a really common frustration all around. And I will honestly tell you that one of the reasons that Elizabeth was completely proficient with her communication partners. I wasn't at that point when she was much younger. I quickly moved to the iPad because it did have the space bar and it did have the backspace key, which we're emulating here on some of these boards. And it was easier for me to not, because I could tell she was getting frustrated with me because I was trying to parse the words and I did it not correctly many of the times.
I remember those days when we were both frustrated before I started to use the keyboard on the iPad. I recommend you work hard on these stencils and letterboards so you can get to a keyboard where you have backspace and spacebar keys.
So,
but let me just say something there. You can't just move to an iPad
until
you get them.
No, but she was so proficient.
Right, we're talking about somebody who already was a proficient.
Yeah, for years.
My rule of thumb at that point, Jenny, is I sit down with those students who do use multiple devices. I say to them flat out, which one would you like to use now?
Yes.
Okay, because some of them hate keyboards. Okay, they hate them.
And some people hate the iPad.
And some of them hate the iPad, and some of them hate the laminate.
Mm-hmm.
So I respect their choices. And some of them, by the way, do choose to use different devices at different times. So because they tend to be the fastest, many of them, on the laminate, if they're having a back and forth repartee, you know, they're joking around with their friends and they want to be fast with all their trash talk.
Yeah.
Okay, they may choose the laminate at that moment.
Right.
Okay, if they're working on an essay, they may choose a keyboard or an iPad. You know, so I definitely I try to respect every speller's preference when they get to that point.
But we're at this point, we're not there yet.
We're
at the 26-letter stencil. So there you go.
Okay.
In this episode, we discussed the path to complex semi-opens. Judy asked you to think about the cognitive motor seesaw. The communication partner should increase the motor demand with the 26-letter stencil and increase the cognitive demand with more complex answers. With complex semi-opens, the communication partner needs to check with the typer because no spacebar on the stencil can cause confusion. The communication partner should say the typer's letters, not the words, until the words are known with certainty. The X is used to correct a letter or word. Just tape an X to the stencil or sensory board and teach the typer to self-correct. Your episode exercise is to select a C4A Academy lesson and tape an X to the top right of the stencil and a period to the bottom right of the stencil. Ask a complex semi-open question and follow the typer. Check with the typer if you are uncertain about a letter, and practice using the X to correct letters. Here it is, your moment of zen.
Okay, so Jason, your favorite subjects for everybody to know. I, S, T, O, T, A, L, L, is totally thinking about it. B, E, L, I, E, V, I, N, is totally believing. I, N, T, H, E, R, E, A, L, L, is totally believing in the really, T, O, changing something? Did you want, is totally believing in the really? Y, E, S. Okay, in the really, S, T, R, O, N, in the really strong, P, O, W, E, power, O, of, L, is totally believing in the really strong power of love. T, H, E, S, I, L, L, I, E, S, is the silliest, is T, A is, no, it's not silly at all. On the question mark. It's not silly at all. I believe in the really strong power of love too. Y, E, yes. L, O, V, love. Okay, love. T, O, T, A, L, L, love, totally. C, H, A, N, G, E, D, MYLIF. Yes, love totally changed my life. Done.